Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad that you're here. I was looking forward to talking to you all day, trying to decide on what I wanted to talk about and whether it should be kind of short and sweet or a little bit more in depth. And I guess I figured I would go with kind of not an easy video, but a more difficult and personal video and more real and relevant to some of the issues that are dealing with my life and that perhaps that you can relate to as well. I did make $225 last week with Uber Eats, Spark, Walmart delivery, and Instacart combined. 225. That was about my goal. I'm looking for 150 to 200 basically on weeks where I wait tables 4 nights a week. This week and the following week, I will only be waiting tables 3 nights a week. So I will hopefully be shooting for about 300. So that puts a little bit more pressure on, but hopefully I can maybe document that process a little bit this week. I only made $22 today. I was not terribly happy with that. I had 3 apps on all morning. It's a little concerning, scary at times when you're not in that algorithm, you're not getting apps. There was one order that popped up for $42, but it was like 30 miles, one way. So it'd be 60 miles total, basically, by the time you get home. I just wasn't about to do that on my day off. So today I'm going to list some records. I listed some records yesterday. I went out and found a bunch during some garage sales this weekend, and hopefully I'll show a little slideshow of those records in the video if I can figure out how to edit those in there. I wanted to talk a little bit about ghosts. For some reason, I got thinking about ghosts last night, and I freaked myself right out. Everyone was upstairs to bed. I was downstairs, and I got thinking about ghost hunting and ghost hunting as a hobby. And I'm always looking for a new hobby, but I'm terrified of ghosts. I could never do it, but sometimes I trick myself into thinking that I could do it. So it's about 10:40, and I type in evidence of ghosts, and my God, I watched about 4 seconds of this video of drawers and cabinets opening. I turned it right off. I go, Jay, what are you doing? So that affected my sleep. I get into bed and I'm still reading about it, and I'm so tired as I'm about to fall asleep. Put the phone down, which I shouldn't have been on so long anyways, and I roll over and I'm about to fall asleep, and my eyes keep opening. I'm just waiting for the ghost to come now at this point, and I got to learn a lesson. Never to ghost hunt, never to research about that stuff late at night. Now I'm kind of brave because it's 2 in the afternoon. But I wonder if anyone's had any encounters. I know some friends that have. I don't know if I have. When my grandma passed, I have, this is actually, you guys have seen this mug over and over and over. This is one of the 2 coffee mugs that I use, and this is what I took from her house as kind of a remembrance of her, because she would always drink it while she was on the couch playing solitaire, and I would come over and then she'd chat with me, and that was one of the things I took. And I remember once she first passed, we always put our mugs face down for some reason, I guess so the dust doesn't get inside. And I opened the cupboard the next day and it was face up, and none of the other things were. So it's why would just that one thing be? And actually, her husband, my grandpa, I had his banjo, and it was over in that corner, and it was misplaced, in a weird way. And that was, I think, when I got home from his wake or something. Just a couple weird things. But nothing too scary or threatening or anything like that. But I've heard stories of some of my friends had situations like that, and even seen some of their private videos. So, and I have a friend who ghost hunts, and he's seen activities and stuff. So I don't know, it's interesting to me, but also terrifying. So I just kind of put it out of sight, out of mind. I don't even think about it, as much as I do find it interesting. But then getting into the topics today, it's a nice sunny day, warm enough probably for just a t-shirt. But I don't know. I just feeling so out of shape. I'm feeling that I'm addicted to sugar. It's something I got to break free from. It's difficult. I know some of the things that sugar addiction can lead to, some of the diseases like type 2 diabetes, being overweight, fatty liver disease, chronic inflammation, which I feel that I have, heart disease, stroke, and more, all issues that can come from sugar addiction. I've been addicted to other things in my life that I've found easier to give up than the sweets. And I'm struggling with it. Now, I wore a sweatshirt today because just trying to hide, my God, I'm just not happy with it. And, yesterday was going to be my hurrah. And okay, Sundays is okay. Have a cheat day. Go to town. Have some hot dogs, brownie and ice cream cone, cereal, cheeseburger. I went to breakfast with my buddy. And today was supposed to be the day to chill. But here are 10 signs that you might be having a sugar addiction. Number one, you hide your sugar habits. Do you hide, I know people hide alcohol in their house, right? Or drugs sometimes, or cigarettes. Do you ever have to hide candy and sweets around your house? I think I've done it before so no one would eat my treats. And people have had to hide the treats from me because, it won't last long if I'm around. So that's one good sign right there that I could relate to. Number two, you need more and more to satisfy your craving. That can be the same, right, with booze, cigs, drugs. And it used to be just one scoop of ice cream, right? But now it's ice cream for lunch and dinner and dessert. It's more and more. Number three, you eat sugar even when you're not hungry. You can have a huge meal. You can be stuffed, but you're still going to get that dessert in. And there's going to be nothing that's stopping that train. Number four, you always crave sweets. Yeah, pretty much do. Number five, you crave salty foods, which is a byproduct of eating too much sweets. You have too much sweets in you, so therefore you crave the saltiness. And it can be the inverse too, where you have too much saltiness and crave the sweets. So that is a big sign. Number six, quitting sugar leads to unusual symptoms. And I feel like I've had these: headaches, tired, lethargy, cravings, muscle pain, bloating, insomnia. It might have been the ghost last night scared me, but I was up. And I'm sick of feeling those symptoms. And there's so many other symptoms that I've broke free from in different parts of life. And I need to break free from those symptoms also. Number seven, you use sugar to soothe. It could be a breakup. It could be a bad day. It could be a sad movie. It could be to cope with life psychological issues, stressors like boredom and depression and anxiety. And where I have been happier and more peaceful and less stressed than I've probably ever been in my life. Of course, we never are fully unstressed. We're always going to have stressors that we just know how to deal with better. But maybe it was a byproduct of years ago where, I've always had a sweet tooth growing up. With my meal usually and after. The meal was incomplete without something sweet to eat with it. So even though perhaps I'm not dealing with necessarily so much anxiety or depression right now, or having too many bad days, or I'm not dealing with any breakups, perhaps it's still a byproduct from my sweet tooth that was formed so many years ago when those things might have been more relevant. Number eight, you know the potential consequences, but you continue to eat sugar anyways. Just like you know the consequences of smoking, and you know the consequences of too much drinking and abusing drugs, and you know the consequences of spending too much, and you continue to do that. It's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results is the definition of insanity and addiction. And I do know the potential consequences, and here I am suffering many of them. Inflammation, headaches when I stop, bloating, more weight gain than I would like, muscle pain, cravings. yet I still continue to indulge in my sweet tooth. So another sign of sugar addiction. Number 9, you go out of your way to get sugar. Special trips to the gas station. I've made special trips to the gas station before for booze and for cigs, and yesterday I actually made one for sweets. That's a good sign that your sugar intake is out of control. And number 10, you feel guilty after eating sugar. Guilt is perhaps one of the stressors that I've been dealing with because I like to succeed. I like to make progress, and I don't like to fail at my objectives daily and longer term. So yeah, shame can be one of them, and lack of confidence and frustration. But on this channel, we always got to talk about a way out, right? How are we going to break free? How to break that sugar addiction? Well, here's 7 ways, and I'm sure there's many more. Number 1, focus on eating a balanced diet, and really focus on that. Fruits, vegetables, proteins, fibers. It has to be a priority. I make a lot of different things priority. I have to stick with that priority consistently. Number 2, don't skip meals. I'm the king of skipping meals. I don't really like to eat too early. I'm researching how to add more protein early. I'd like to get 30 grams of protein early, whether that's through some eggs, through some veggie omelets, maybe with a little fruit on the side, or skip the fruit altogether in the morning, which could lead to a crash. Because you start skipping meals, and I'm the king of skipping meals during the day, but then I start getting hungry at dinner and late night, and then, you can end up in front of the fridge, in front of the counter, or in the drive-thru, and those are 3 places you don't want to be. So to not be there, to not improvise, number 3, we got to plan and prep, to invest time and money, to know exactly what you're going to have each day. I'm the kind of person who needs that, at least right now. I need that structure of breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. I need it all planned out. So I don't think if I do it my way on the fly, sometimes that doesn't always work, right? We need to have a little structure, to have a plan. Number 4, big one, to make time for movement. I have free time. It's one thing that I'm not necessarily lacking for, which is a benefit in my life. Sometimes my free time is not always when I necessarily want it, like I work Friday and Saturdays, but I have a lot of free time. I'm not lacking for that. I need to make time for exercise, because exercise is going to equal reduced stress, and that's going to equal less cravings. Number 5, get plenty of sleep. If you don't get enough sleep, that reduces hormones in your stomach, which makes you wake up and crave a donut instead of craving a healthy, balanced breakfast. Number 6, drink plenty of water. It's great for you anyways, but it can also dilute the sugar in your bloodstream. And number 7, journal your food intake. We still, as debt-free people and good savers, we pretty much track every dollar that we spend. And there's a little bit more freedom with our spending now because, we have a pretty good savings rate, but we're still tracking it just in case. We know where to cut. It's not mindless spending. You can't measure what you don't track. You can't cut what you're not tracking. Journal your food intake. It can be really eye-opening to see what you're eating and when. So that's, again, something that I need to do. I really need to focus on those 7 habits, and I hope that you got some value from those topics. To make the video even harder, I kind of wanted to talk about this Bob Dylan quote and this song that I wanted to share next. All right, so I came across this Bob Dylan quote, and he's, I would say, my favorite musician all time, and I like a lot of people like him and who he's influenced, like Bruce Springsteen, any singer-songwriter, etc. And I just happened across this quote about Jerry Garcia and kind of about knowing where you stand in life and how you value your time with people. So it says, it took a certain amount of wit for Jerry Garcia to name a Charlie Poole tune one of his side projects, a long-running bluegrass band called Old in the Way. One thing Jerry knew was his place in the universe. Again, this is Bob Dylan's quote. When he formed the band, he couldn't have been further away from either thing in the song's title, being a youthful 31 years old and the leader of another popular band, the Grateful Dead. But even he knew youth and fame were fleeting, and Charlie Poole's words resonated with him. He knew, as the great Roman orator, philosopher, and statesman Cicero did, that there is assuredly nothing dearer to a man than wisdom. And though age takes away all else, it undoubtedly brings us that. And ultimately, we go from in the way to out of the way. And usually then, in front of fellow mourners, we pretend how much we miss those folks we didn't have time for when we walked the earth. And that is kind of a jarring statement, kind of a blunt statement, kind of a deep and wise statement. Certainly age brings us wisdom, and it does kind of take away almost everything else. And how many people do we mourn, have we mourned, that we didn't have time for when they walked the earth? Or how many people will we mourn and say that about? How many friends, how many family members do we not have time for? And time is our greatest gift that we can give, and time is our greatest non-renewable resource, which we always talk about. It's the best thing that we can give people. Our parents, our cousins, our uncles, our aunts, our friends, co-workers, neighbors, acquaintances. How many people don't we have time for as we walk the earth? It's something to consider. We can't even make a change if we're not considering it. So that one hit home for me. I don't want to mourn people who I didn't give my time to when I had the opportunity, especially those closest to me. And it made me think of this Bob Dylan song called Bob Dylan's Dream. And all my friends like this song. Not every friend likes every Bob Dylan song, but most of them like this because it kind of was a little bit of our lives. We would sit around and we would drink and we'd talk, and we even did it in front of a wood stove a lot of the time. And one of my friends who passed, this was one of his 2 or 3 favorite Bob Dylan songs. I would try to convert him to Bob Dylan, and this was one that he liked. And we'd sing the words on the jukebox if we were out. When I remember being about 18 and getting Bob's first 3 albums, and I put this on, and I was young, 18, and this song brought me just to tears, sitting Indian style on my bed. And I don't know why, because I was still young, but maybe I knew, as Bob did probably when he was about 21 when he wrote this, that it's not going to last forever, and I probably hung on to it a little bit too long. But it talks about how time is fleeting, and to enjoy every moment because you can't get them back. So I'll just kind of share this song called Bob Dylan's Dream. While riding on a train going west, I fell asleep for to take my rest. And I dreamed a dream that made me sad concerning myself and the first few friends I had. Half damp eyes, I stare to the room where my friends and I'd spend many an afternoon, where we together weathered many a storm, laughing and singing till the early hours the old wooden stove where our hats was hung. Our words was told, our songs was sung. Where we long for nothing and we're quite satisfied, joking and talking about the world outside. With hungry hearts through the heat and the cold, we never much thought we would get very old. We thought we could sit forever in fun, and our chances really was 1,000,000 to 1. With hungry hearts through the heat and cold, it was all that easy to tell black from white. It was all that easy to tell wrong from right. And our choices, there was few, and the thought never hid that the one road we traveled would ever shatter or split. Now many a year has passed and gone, many a gamble has been lost and won, and many a road taken by many a first friend, and each one I've never seen again. I wish in vain that we could sit simply in that room again. $10,000 at the drop of a hair, I'd give it all gladly if our lives could be like that. Break free.